Welcome to another episode of the Boss Experience podcast. My name is Michele Davis, and I just want to thank you for tuning in this week. So, I'm here with Natalia Paulino. And Natalia and I go back to, what is it, 2018,
Yes.
um, when she was working in Brooklyn as a real estate agent. And this season rather, our focus is business planning. So I thought Natalia would be perfect to contribute to this topic because I've known her for so long, since 2018. I've seen Natalia kind of evolve.
Thank you.
She's evolved in both her career as a real estate agent, but she's also a beast when it comes down to, having that online visibility and that presence. And so I really wanted her to speak to that topic as it relates to business planning, because it's something that a lot of people are scared of, right? They're scared to get on camera, they're
A
scared
lot
to
of
show who
people.
they are. And I know Natalia's a beast at it. And I knew her from when she wasn't. So I want her to talk about what that felt like not being that beast,
Yeah.
and how she evolved into who she is today, where you can see her all over, on her, on your feed if you follow her. And she's not just talking about real estate, she's talking about her, and she's creating that brand for herself. So I'm going to let Natalia introduce herself and share a little bit about herself. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited to do this podcast with you. For those that don't know me, I'm Natalia. I'm originally from Texas. I've been in New York 13 years now. And
Woohoo!
yeah, officially, I feel like I'm officially a New Yorker, right? It's been that long. This feels more like home than Texas does. And when I first came here, I was actually in the beauty industry, almost opened my salon twice, but I let fear hold me back. Um, and then I just felt like maybe real estate was meant to be, like in hindsight, because now as a single mom, it's like it's easy for me to make decent money, good money, support my family, and at the same time not lose too many hours to spend with her as well, with my daughter. Like I've been able to balance it, where back when I was in the salon, I was working 13-hour days or more back to back to to make decent money. And while I loved and enjoyed it, there was just some works in the background happening that made me shift into real estate, and now I enjoy it. I love it. It's like it's very similar to being in the salon, because you just build a different connection with your clients out of like compared to other industries, right? Because in the salon, somebody's sitting in your chair for a good amount of time, and they just start talking about like what happened at work, what happened at home, their relationships, all kinds of stuff. Like people just open up for some reason in salon chairs. And then in real estate, it's a really relationship based industry. Um, and during that time, like people are dealing with like the biggest investments that we make in a lifetime. So, going through that experience with them, it like really, really builds that strong connection, like experiences you go with other people, that really builds that rapport and relationship. So there have been clients that, maybe listed, and then like I still stay in touch with them afterwards, and they're telling me their story about their daughter or their son, their family, life events that are happening within their family. It's like you're building that whole relationship, and that's what I really love about this career. The money's great, but I love the connection, I love the relationship, and being in somebody's home. Like how closer can you get to somebody?
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned the relationship, because relationship building is actually how I met you, through
Yeah.
my own marketing.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're
I
really
never,
good with it.
yeah, I never ever came to you and say, Natalia, can you buy from me?
Yes.
Can
Yeah.
you buy this? Can you
It
buy
was
that?
never salesy.
Right. And yet I was a ever present
Yes.
in in that particular office, I built relationships and authentically, because I think we're
Yes.
missing that a lot in our marketing and how
Yeah.
we show up online. We don't know how to be authentic.
I think a lot of people miss that. I was just talking to another business partner that I talked to, and he's also like a coach and things like that. And that's one thing that we talked about. I told him, I was like, my main job is not selling homes, it's building relationships. Like, that is my main job because I feel like the selling is easy. You know, a home is going to sell because there's always going to be a buyer out there that wants that home. But like building the relationship is a whole different story. Even with it when it comes to closing a deal, and we have like an attorney, we have another agent involved, we have an inspector involved, like there's all these different people involved. And when like if you're not good at relationships, which you can tell when people are not,
Mhm.
it's harder to move the deal forward, right? Because then like you clash personalities, or somebody upset somebody else, and they start reacting in a way that makes the whole deal feel uncomfortable. It's like, why? We're all trying to aim for the same goal. We should be working together, right? We should be helping each other, not trying to show the other one up, I guess, or be more in control. Like, we're all after the same goal here.
Absolutely. And it shows up in how people show up online too,
Mhm.
because people, whether it's real estate or my industry, which is, consulting, coaching, people are looking for the transaction.
Yeah.
They're looking for the transaction. And so when you're looking for the transaction, all people are to you is one big dollar sign, and
Yeah.
they can see it. Because
Right.
and the relationships that we build today are the sales for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we're trying to achieve with our marketing. So let's talk about Natalia, in 2018
Yeah.
and what that was like for you marketing. I don't know if you remember this, but we had a conversation at Bold. Remember, I went to your Bold training
Yes.
and we were talking about marketing. We were talking about social media. But,
Yes.
then your brand was kind of the same, but it was a little different. You
Yeah.
have a good memory. So let's talk about Natalia back then,
Yeah.
and let's bring everyone current to Natalia in 2025.
Yeah. So social media I got on originally to stay in touch with my family back home, right? They could see what I'm doing, I could see what they're doing. That's how it really started for me. And then I started to do more posts about, I guess, like what you would call now in the life of, right? Just daily stuff that I was doing in my job. So if I was at an open house, I would show that. If I was at an inspection, an appraisal, then I would post about it. Now, back then, I was not comfortable in front of the camera, right? So a lot of the camera, it was mostly like B-roll stuff. The camera was facing away from me, to whatever I was doing or looking at. And then maybe I was talking like a voiceover. And that's what I would post because I thought, well, I'm posting something, but I don't really want to be in front of the camera because that's so uncomfortable. One, like most people are uncomfortable about the way they look or the way they sound, so they don't want to do it. The thing that changed my attitude, I guess, is I went when I got my first listing and I sat down with this client. He was like, everything sounds great, everything's good. He's like, I've met with a few other agents. Yeah, I get it. But what I really want to know is, are you on social media? And
Mm,
it just kind of threw me back. And then he was like, that's just the new way of things now. People buy homes through social media. People are looking at listings through social media. And he just kind of gave me this whole explanation. And I just sat there thinking, like, cool, I'm glad I started this already because I could easily say yes, like I do. Like, do you want to see my profile? I'm happy to share that. And he's like, no, I trust you. We're good. Let's sign the paperwork, and that was the starting point of being more intentional with what I was doing with social media. And I guess over the years, just tweaking it, getting more comfortable, being in front of the camera where I do a lot more face videos. um, and just growing from there and like learning, right? Like going on platforms and seeing what other people are doing that are ahead of me. What are they doing? What creates a lot more engagement? What do people like to comment on or share? What is creating that? And I try to mimic it, right? If it's working for them, it's going to work for me. And you can tell because not just number of followers, but the engagement part, right? It doesn't matter if you have a million followers and nobody's engaging with your stuff. Like you want to create that engagement. So that's my main focus. I think at first I went in there like I want to have a million followers or whatever it is. But I realized followers don't matter more than the engagement does. I think that's top priority right now. Um,
And you mentioned something that was, that a lot of people don't do, and that is the market research. You have to
mhm.
know what's happening. People are afraid to look at what other people in their industry are doing. And like
Yeah,
you said, you have to know what are people engaging with, you know, am I presenting myself in the best light? Am
yes,
I doing my captions right? Am I
yes,
using the right hashtags? Should I be using hashtags? And you have
yes.
people that really don't answer, they can't answer those questions because they're not paying attention. They're just
Yeah,
going on without being intentional, just doing things, looking busy, but not getting
right.
clients. Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
The one thing I want to mention about social media, can you share a little bit about what online visibility actually means? Because I think that people kind of get on, they think it's an instant cash machine because they have a presence. But you
Yeah,
mentioned something that was key. You talked about the client, and he said, "Are you on social media?"
yeah.
And you're like, "That's not how you met him, probably."
No,
But yet, here he was asking, "Are you on social media?" So for him, it was validation that you're real,
yeah.
validation that you have some credibility. So can you shed light on what it really means to be on social media? Is it really a cash machine or is it branding? What is it?
That's a really good question. I feel like there's a lot of layers to that. So what I would say for my industry, right? If you're if you own your business, if you're trying to build a business, your number one priority is should be marketing, right? And all marketing is making sure that you get as many people to know what you do, what your service is, what value you provide, right? Like that's all marketing is getting your product out there. For me, I am my product. It's not the homes that I'm selling. I am my brand, right? If you're a business owner, like myself as a realtor, like I am the branding. It's me. So I have to put that out there. And that's where it comes in, where it's not just salesy. It's creating that authenticity where I am an actual person. I have interests, I have hobbies. I've taught at some of the offices, and a lot of it is social media training. And I tell these other agents, there's a way to come across without sounding salesy. You can tell people what you do without it being like, look at me, I just sold a home, call me to sell your house, right? Like people want to hear stories. What's the story behind that? Can you elaborate on like, oh, this home just sold in XYZ. I love this neighborhood because of this. Most people want to move into this area because of this. It's like creating more of a story that doesn't sound like I sold this, buy my product, buy me, list with me, sell with me, buy with me. It's more of it's more engaging. People respond to it better. And you're also, when you're building that brand, right? People want to work with, collaborate with people that are like them or they aspire to be, right? So it's like when you're showing different hobbies that you're into, I like for me, I think my thing is I'm a foodie. I love to try out new places, whether it be a cafe or a nice restaurant. I love that. Um, I'm a parent, so I post a lot of stuff about the parent side of my life, how I balance it all. I think that's where I go with it. I just try to create it's funny because I feel like a lot of people that I've met in person now that I've only met online through social media, when I meet in person, they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known you. Like we've met before, right? And I'm like, no, we've never met. Cause I know who I've met in person. I'm like, no, but I know you like you're commenting on my stuff a lot. You follow me a lot. So you probably see a lot of my videos, and videos are key. If you really want to build rapport, videos work because it's almost like they're seeing you, they're hearing you. It's the same kind of rapport building that you get when you're meeting people in person.
Absolutely. So what would you say to an agent that's watching this video or listening to this particular episode and you're thinking, I don't even know where to start. I
Yeah.
haven't been on, I haven't posted since 2022. Where do I even start?
Yeah, I would just start. And so, what I started with in the beginning is I would go to a lot of broker previews. I went to open houses, right? Because when you first start off, you don't have your own listings. So, what are you sharing? You don't really have stuff to share yet. But if you're going to an open house that's public, right? Anybody can go to an open house and you share what you're doing, or you share a feature that you like at a home that you're looking at. You can walk around a neighborhood and highlight a feature in a neighborhood that you love. There's restaurants and businesses that you can highlight, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can, as a new agent, use social media, even if you don't have your own business yet, right? It's like building that presence. And if you stick to a specific neighborhood or borough, then you start to get seen as more of an expert for that area, right? Because they see like the restaurants, the businesses, the different parks that are there. Anything that makes you look like an expert in the area you want to work in, that's what you focus on.
Yeah, that's an awesome point. And one of the things that people can do from a marketing perspective too, if you know you have a listing coming up in a particular neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
you can spend the first week leading up to you posting about that listing
Right.
in the neighborhood, the restaurants, interviewing a business owner. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be as formal, or at least this looks formal, right? As like a
Yeah.
podcast, but just saying, hey, tell me when you started this business. So people get a sense of community. I know when I moved to Westchester, I didn't know anything about Westchester. I was coming from the city,
Yes.
and I think that would have helped me tremendously if someone would have said, this is what's in this area. I would be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And then next thing you know, you show me the home that's for, that you're
Yeah.
listing, as kind of like on the back end instead of like this is what I'm selling.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so
you're also selling a lifestyle, right?
absolutely.
People don't just spend all their time in their homes. They want to get around their neighborhood. They want to go out to dinner or go out for a coffee, right? It'd be nice for them to know, hey, I have all these within walking distance, right? Or within a few blocks. This is more exciting versus I'm just focused on this house. And then you're like, okay, so now what do I do? Like, what?
Yeah. And that it's dog friendly, it's
Yeah,
safe, all of those things matter. It's kid friendly. Believe it or
right,
not, a lot of people aren't, exactly into kids,
right.
which I've
Yeah, well,
noticed.
it's like each neighborhood can have its different vibe, right?
Hmm.
I moved from Bushwick. Bushwick was, it's a lot louder, crazier. Weekend, you hear a lot more people out. I'm in Ridgewood now, and it's so quiet.
Yeah.
It's very family friendly. So I think, yeah, it is important to know what kind of lifestyle is going to suit the client too, right? I probably, with me and my daughter, I wouldn't want to live in one of the busiest areas where there's probably a bunch of bars and party goers. I want something calm, quiet, safe.
But if you're selling a condo, like that's a studio or a one bedroom, then that may be perfect for that person because they want to know that they can hang out.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, that's so key. And that's all about really thinking, being forward thinking and thinking about who is this really for? Who is
Right.
the ideal person for what I'm
Right.
selling?
You want to find that ideal client, that ideal buyer,
Mhm.
not just whoever's willing to put an offer, you know?
Yes. So you have a new podcast.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. What's the name? You just
Yeah.
recorded your first episode, which is exciting.
Yes. I have a partner. Her name is Amanda Lee. We started a podcast called Find Your Flow with Work and Mom Life. And for both of us, we're excited because we're both moms. She's ahead of me. She has three, I have one, which
Oh,
I think is still great because you get that range of experience and advice. You know, I'm sure she forgot some of what it was like in the beginning where I'm at right now with like making space for myself. But I'm excited about that. I kind of posted a teaser last year and it seemed like a lot of women were excited about it. You know, some friends and family that were like, yeah, I want to be on there. Like they're excited to be interviewed and be a part of it. I feel like as a mom, like there's times where like you just need that extra support. You need that space to vent. You need that space to maybe hear other people have gone through it and they survived it, right? Or they're going through it and they're doing just fine. You know, everything's going to work out. And also being able to find out what works for you because there is no set manual when it comes to like how to raise a kid. Every kid's different, you know, and we have different situations. You know, I run my own business. There's some moms that work 9 to 5, and I see like we have similar struggles and we have different struggles. You know, I have a little bit more flexibility with my schedule. So when I think of a 9 to 5 job, I don't know how they do it. Like I applaud those women that make it work because
mhm.
I don't know. Like there's been times when I've had to like go pick up randomly. And if I had a 9 to 5 job, you know, I don't know how what's the word, supportive other employees can be, other employers.
Right. And having a 9 to 5 and having to deal with the struggles of motherhood is why I part of the reason why I started a business because I'm like,
Yeah,
imagine having to beg for time to go pick up your sick kid. And
right,
there's so many things that happen just in mom life. Like even now and with my daughter being the age that she is, in college, I don't know what I like to do anymore because
right.
everything I've done has always been what she wanted to do
Yes,
or me accommodating her. So it's, we're in a bit of discovery at all stages,
yeah.
and we need to find our flow, so to speak, when it comes to those things. So, how can someone find your podcast?
So right now, we've started off with a private Facebook group. So that would be the best place. We are venturing into uploading into YouTube, but we're not there yet. But definitely find it in Facebook. It's Find Your Flow with Work and Mom Life. That's where we're starting. We want to start, you know, in one space, make it work, and then kind of expand out. And we're also hoping as we get into better weather, try doing more stuff in person, you know, where we can meet up some evening and have a group of women together and just connect.
That sounds awesome. I come to the city for that.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you're going to be on the
definitely.
podcast too.
Yes,
You
yes.
need to pull out your wisdom.
Thank you. So there's actually a link to Natalia's her Facebook group
Yes.
in the description. So depending on where you're watching this, whether it's audio version or the video version, just look in the description and you'll find the link.
Thank you.
And there'll also be a link to Natalia's social media, Facebook and Instagram. But can you also share like how they can find you on Instagram and Facebook?
Yeah. So Facebook is just my name. It's Natalia Paulino. And then Instagram, I recently changed it, but it should be under my name and also luxury underscore New York City, well, NYC realtor.
Yeah. So, and then there'll be links in the description if
Yeah.
you got tripped up and you can't find her. And of course, if you're in the market to buy or sell your home, Natalia is your girl
Thank you,
to
Michelle. I
link up
appreciate
with.
you.
Oh, you're welcome. And so, why don't you share some final words of wisdom as we think about all of the possibilities? Because you and I have talked about this offline that, opportunities exist where we believe they are. If we believe
Yes.
there's no opportunities, there's none. It'll be gloom and doom. But if we can focus our mindset on the fact that our opportunities exist where we believe that they exist, we got to focus on that. And if we got to have faith. So,
Yes.
what words of wisdom do you have for people as they're thinking about business planning, as they're thinking about online visibility and
Yeah.
really having a thriving business in 2025?
Yeah. So for me, I don't care what anybody else says, what they hear on the news. I feel like we live at the best possible time right now in history to not only just build a business, but scale faster than ever. And a lot of it does have to do with accepting how people now shop, how they, spend their time. And a lot of it is social media. So if you're not jumping on social media, you're missing a huge opportunity. When it comes to numbers, before I would go door knocking, I would do phone calls, I would meet people in person, and I'm literally like spending 15 minutes to an hour if I'm in person with somebody, right? In front of one person. Social media has opened the door, online presence, like even YouTube, right? Has opened the door for us to talk, be in front of millions of people and passively, right? I could create a post right now while we're talking. I'm only talking to one person and post it, but then hundreds, thousands, millions of people can like passively watch it, throughout the day. When I'm sleeping, they share it. So I feel like we have so much opportunity that people have not tapped into. And they think of the negative side, they focus on the negative side of it, right? I've had people tell me, like, oh, I had to get off. It's just too much negativity, or the politic part of it all. Like, they just want to get off of it. But majority of the people that I have engaged with are also a lot of coaches and entrepreneurs and stuff. So like my feed for the most part is positive. Like I see a lot of good stuff on my feed. I rarely see negative stuff or the hate stuff. A lot of it is about like businesses and growing and mindset. I
Mhm.
know way too many coaches now, so I get a lot of good stuff in my feed. Um, but I don't know how you feel. I just feel like the possibilities are so much greater today than they ever were.
Yeah, and what you focus on expands. And I
Yeah,
want what Natalia is talking about has nothing to do with politics.
yeah,
It's all about mindset. So if you're thinking about, oh, is she talking about the election? Is she talking about this? No, she is not talking about the election.
yeah,
She is talking about focusing on the right things,
yeah,
focusing on the things that are going to help you grow and help you in your business and help you thrive. So if you have a lot of nonsense on your feed, there's an X right next to each post so you can see
yes,
less of those types of posts.
yeah,
And you can flood your feed, with people that are positive and people that, where you can feel good when you
yeah,
hop on social media that are going to inspire you to
yes.
grow and be more and do better. So nothing she
Be
said
inspired.
exactly.
I
And
don't,
so,
I've heard people as well say, like, oh, they feel less or worse about their life because they see these people doing these high achieving things. So
mhm,
they feel worse about like maybe not being at that point yet. But we all start somewhere. And for me, when I see somebody that's doing these $100 million sales in real estate, that doesn't make me feel bad. That inspires me. That gets me excited about what's the potential that's out there. Like I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad about, I don't know, not hitting my goal for last year that I wanted to get. Like, if anything, it fuels me. Like, seeing people doing these crazy, I don't know, luxurious things, that inspires me. That doesn't make me feel like I can't get there. It shows me what
Yeah,
I could potentially get to if I just focus in that direction.
absolutely. So those are words to live by. Be inspired and fill
Yeah.
your surroundings around people that inspire you, whether it's on social media, in person.
Yes.
This isn't a time for people that are negative, that are, dragging your energy down.
Yes.
So I appreciate you, Natalia, and I am so happy we could do this.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much for being a part of season 8 of the Boss Experience podcast, and thank everyone else for tuning in. And I hope you can tune in for next week's episode of the Boss Experience. Take care and be well.
I love it.